Hello, this is second session where I'm reaching you through live. But I'm not very good at it. So I have few questions that have come from you, but let's try to see how can I get more questions. Give me a second. Okay, so if you have any questions, just ping me here. I'll be able to answer those. Okay, uh, let's start. Thanks for spending your time here. I'll try to see not taking a lot of your time, but I'll start answering questions that I have got. And after that, I'll come to what's on my mind. Before that, one disclaimer whatever I'm talking are my personal views, not related to any organization. Everything I'll answer is my personal capacity. So I only answer questions which don't relate to any organization. Okay, so let me take some of the questions which you have already submitted. Okay. One question which has come is regarding internship. Some of you asked a specific question which I would skip for now, but a lot of you have asked concerns about missing internships because of this all COVID-19. A lot of you have submitted that question. What can we do about it? I also follow LinkedIn. I see a lot of you are not getting internships as you wanted or not getting at all. I know there are a lot of folks who are trying to help everyone create those kind of opportunities and give it to you. But there's one reality: there will not be enough internships available for everyone who has lost this opportunity. There are not enough work from home internships available. So if you're getting, well and good. If you are joining a company which has that setup, very good. But if you're not getting that internship, and if you're worried how to uh, use this time. Again, take help of those who are providing you help in terms of connecting you with the companies and internship. I'm talking about those of you who are not getting it. My view is a little different regarding this. So, do you actually see this as a problem? So, do you actually always want to do internship, or you do internship because everyone else is doing? And if you don't do, what will you show in your resume? That's a problem, right? This is the opportunity. Now you have option to figure out what you actually want to do in this 2 months. I'll say if you're not getting anything, there's one suggestion I can give you, and I'm a big supporter of being a self-learner. I'll say this is an opportunity. Think about what is a specific area within your studies which interests you. Any topic, any project on your own, anything that you are interested in. Don't think about how market thinks, how others thinks, how recruiter thinks. Forget about that. What interests you, what you're passionate about. Let me give you an example, like a random example. Suppose you're marketing students and you've always wondered how Amul, being a Indian player, is able to beat everyone else in milk market. What do they do differently in marketing? Or you're a finance student and your first time you're seeing a market turmoil or something happening in market. You want to study that student. You want something to do in HR, any specific area, anything. Find out your core topic. Think through, spend time, anything that you're passionate about. Okay. Now, do a research, make a timetable for next 2 months of your own project. Do a research and put a target. That's how it helps. So, what do you want to do in these 2 months? Maybe you want to come up with a report. Examples I gave you, or anything that interests you. Spend time on that. Make a plan. First 2 weeks, I'll do research. Next 2 weeks, I collect the data. Next 2 weeks, I'll analyze, and last 2 weeks, I'll write. I'm giving a random example. It's your plan. Make that plan. Do the research, right? So tomorrow, when you go for a job, you have a story. No one will ask you why didn't you do internship. Everyone knows what is out there, but you can still show you're a self-learner. You lost your internship because of certain things, but how you used your time, you can definitely put. And when your batch goes, they'll find a lot of folks who didn't do any internship. They'll find very few of those who did something on their own, something valuable. Having said that, I know a lot of you will not do that. So I'm not talking about to those who don't want to do it. Talking to small number of folks who want to do that. And tell you why a lot of people will not do that. First of all, people don't trust themselves that they can come up with something useful. If a boss, a company gives them a project, similar project, they'll trust it. They don't trust their own passion instead. That's why those people will not follow it. If they don't get internship, they'll sit at home, do something, but they're not pursuing it. Other people will not do it uh, because they don't want to spend time finding out what is the topic is. It takes effort, right? So those folks will not. I'm not talking to those. Other remaining folks don't have courage to fail. What if I spend like 2 months, nothing comes out? You can watch a series and finish it, right? At least I can talk to everyone during lockdown. I finished one Netflix series. They'll do that, but they don't have a courage to work on a project thinking, what if it's useless? It's not useless. Report may end up useless. You learn a lot of self learning and research. Those folks will not pursue it. I'm not talking to those. Another group is that who don't have a discipline to work without a boss or teacher. If a teacher gives a project in a class, they can do. If a boss gives you a project, you can do. But self-discipline, a lot of people will not take that chance. So I'm not talking even to those folks. If you can avoid all these pitfalls, there's a great opportunity in this COVID. You can prove that you're self-learner. Find out the topic. Commit it to someone else. I've, I've committed that I'll do this in 2 months. Commit, it's a motivation. If you don't find anyone else to commit it, ping me. Commit to me. This is what you did. There's a different route I follow sometimes. Suppose you want to come up with a project report at the end of these 2 months. Let's continue with example. Let's say your marketing is trending. I want to find out about. I'm not a marketing person, so I don't know whether the topic or not. Prepare a cover page of a report. Design it. Put your name under it. Motivation. Do that. So again, that's my suggestion. I'm a big believer in self-learner. Whatever I've learned is through self-learning. Most of it I did my courses, but again, if I say anything I learned is through self-learning. My suggestion for you, if you want to know more about my ideas on that ping me, let's see what are the other questions. I'm trying to see if you guys are sending me more questions. No, I only see hi. Okay, if you want to get a questions, just ping me a question, I'll answer. And meanwhile, let me take more questions that you guys have seen. So one question that I've got is, um, again, I answered internship question. That's my best I can tell you about. Other questions I got is, it would be great to know your views on COVID, on sectors, countries, industries, how it will impact. Okay, I'm not an expert in that, and you'll find more better experts online these days. I'll just tell you what's my view. Things will change for sure. World will not look as it was before COVID. There'll be post-COVID. And how much it will change depends on how long this period, lockdown, all this lasts. Longer it lasts, longer impact it will have on period after. And I said I'm not a expert in this, but few things that I can observe. If you have observed, what has happened is uh, digital has come into mainstream. Right? Work from home has become a norm. Those companies which didn't have infrastructure to work from home are forced to do it. Those companies which had infrastructure but it's not productive, At the end of it, they'll figure out that if their staff was able to work few months with work from home, it's a productive. So all those uh, misconceptions around work from home will go away. You can't justify it's not productive because your company's worked for a few months on that. So that's a work from home. Schools were saying, no, no, there's no replacement of live sessions. Once they work on virtual learning for a few months, that they cannot take that argument. So virtual learning, ed tech will progress. And simple example as newspaper. A lot of folks who have quit newspaper. There's a research which says there's no harm in newspaper. Newspaper don't spread virus and all. Still quit it. Older age people are moving to mobile news. And if they are on mobile news 3 months, 4 months, some of them will not return to physical newspaper. Digital shift from physical to digital has been accelerated by few years, right? It was a linear curve to accelerate. That to go to digital, that has accelerated by few years. That's very, very important. When everything gets settled down, you will notice the change from physical to digital has come much sooner than anyone predicted. Another impact, I think, it will be on health and medical science. Medical science, we claimed it's very great, but it's challenged now. A lot of research are coming into that, but again, it's uh, as of now we cannot say that we are very advanced medical science because we're not being able to find out solution. It's a challenge, but I'm sure medical science will come up with solutions. After that ends, I think a lot of spending will be done on public health. That's eye opener. People will not be able to focus on other priorities. Healthcare, medical science, in terms of research, in terms of government spending, will take priority. One thing I think is will change is climate change. A lot of noise about that we should reduce pollution, and then there was a huge argument that we cannot reduce pollution. What should we stop our factories? Should we kind of stop our cars? Or even what's that nonsense? Should we stop the cars? It's not possible. This disaster, this epidemic has shown you it's possible. So don't take that argument. It's not possible to shut down cities. It's not possible to shut down traffic. It's not possible to shut down factories, airplanes. It's possible. It has forced you. The argument will not fly. It will show you after a few months you can survive by even after stopping factories for a week in a year or 2 weeks in a year. You can survive by kind of stopping traffics for a week in a year or 2 weeks in a year, right? Or maybe that will be countries we be planning that if tomorrow this kind of pandemic comes, we don't want to be caught off guard. Let's practice it every year. That will reduce pollution. Climate change has got one more support that it's possible. Don't take an excuse that it's not possible to reduce pollution. So that's a big change which will happen. I don't know whether people are seeing it or not, but uh, there are real problems and there are man-made problems. So far, we've been focusing on man-made problem: Brexit, trade war, India-Pakistan war, North Korea, South Korea. All these are man-made problems. We assume these are real problems. No one is talking about those. It's an eye-opener. Those were not problems. You created those problems. No one is talking about Brexit. Maybe talks here and there. That's not on focus. Somewhere nature has shown you that okay, these are your created problems. Do you want to see what's the problem? What kind of problems are actually these are the problems? So if this doesn't open human beings' mind, I don't know what else can be. So that's a big change if it can make. I'll not talk a lot about market and all again. I'm not supposed to talk about markets and I'm not expert in that. I'll talk about India. In where India will be after this, a lot depends on the how long it stays in India. Second is after that, how determined we are as a nation. We are still challenged today, and I'll say it's a, it's a it's good to see that most of the nations have answered prime minister's call. They know what is correct. They are under lockdown. Some folks may not do. I think that's there in every country, but Country has come together as a one country, which is very, very rare to see in India. How we'll revive from that will show our character as a nation. Japan revived from World War II. It changed that country's character. So we're yet to see how it comes. But again, that will depend on how each one of us respond after all this is over, within this pandemic and after this. That's what I think about COVID. Again, I'm not an expert; it's still evolving, but I'm sure it will end soon. We'll find a solution. There's always light at the end of tunnel. But it will change the world for a long time now. If there are any other questions you guys have submitted? I think that I find there are a lot of highs. So hi to everyone. Let me see on any other channel if there is any questions there. No, let me see one more and then okay. So I think we had enough questions for today, but I'll tell you what's on my mind because I want to discuss with you that as well what I'm doing. So again, of course, this COVID on my mind. I'm thinking how the world will change, and I share with you what I think. A lot of experts talking about that, and first thing it should end. It's more important. Most important thing is everyone's health and safety. Hopefully, it will end soon. What I'm doing these days, my weekdays go working from home. I mean, it's as intense as your day work, and which is good because I will keep doing these things, keep getting worried. So I think weekdays it's going in there. Weekends, whatever time I am getting besides my family commitments, I try to utilize those bets. Um, I'm reading what interests me, and I can tell you what interests me. I've been always fascinated about the markets, not about particular stock, about how the credit cycles work and everything else. And I know from my experience, I was in middle of 2007-8 crisis. The amount of learning which happens in middle of storm doesn't happen before or after that. You can read 1,000 books after this thing is over. You'll not learn as much as you learn today. Because what you'll get after this is over, only the summaries. Now you're getting all the views, right, wrong views. So if you are to understand about markets, want to read about market, this is the best time. So I'm reading about that, and there are a few more topics that I'm reading about. That's what I'm doing. I'm trying to use my time best and trying to not consume as much news because there's not much against going to news here and there again. So that's on my mind. I'll end in next couple of seconds. Let me see if there are any other questions. I don't see any questions there. I have mostly answered questions that you guys asked me in summary. So with that, I'll end today's session. If you have any specific topic that you want me to answer in these live sessions, but I'll wish you all the best. Stay safe, follow all the precautions, and don't forget about my advice on your internships. As I told you, there are a lot of folks who may not be able to follow it, but if you can, do follow and good results at the end of this. Thanks for your time. See you one more next maybe next Sunday whenever you want. You guys have some questions. Till then.